Hello, my name is James Clegg. I work for the University of Edinburgh's Talbot Rice Gallery and I'm the curator of Pine's Eye. Pine's Eye is a large group exhibition featuring 12 international artists that runs across our distinctive spaces. As the exhibition is currently closed due to the 2020 pandemic, I've decided to make a series of short videos that explore the work of each of the artists in the exhibition in turn. This week we're going to be looking at the work of Mendieta. We're showing a series of Mendieta's drawings made while she was on residency in Rome in the 1980s. I think Mendieta is one of those figures that most people will remember from their studies of art history because she's such a distinctive spirit within the history of contemporary art practice. She really stands out. I think right from her early student works where we can see her experimenting with her own body, using things like glass to distort the image of her body and really kind of challenge ideas about beauty and femininity, right through to her later works where she created so many iconic images of the female body in the landscape. Again, using her own body and covering it with feathers or mud or blood to create these quite ritual type of works in which we see her become part of trees, part of the landscape, part of the desert, as well as her image starting to become a kind of effigy for a universal kind of being connected to the universe. Despite us knowing Mendieta so well, it's quite difficult to label her practice, should we want to, or categorize it. We might connect her work with land art, but she would dissociate herself from that. We might see it as quite postmodern work, given the era that it was made and its sort of questioning of the gaze and the construction of gendered identities, but she would distance herself from that. And we might even think of it as feminist art as well. And I think in many ways it was, but individually Mendieta, despite working for the Artist in Residency Gallery, which was despite being connected to the Artist in Residence Gallery, really sort of started to distance herself and dissociate herself from feminism because she felt that it was quite a kind of white and middle class institution in the United States. So whilst we know her work very, very well, it's quite difficult to place. And I think part of the reason for this is that it was really, it took on the role of a personal ritual. There's something important about these actions, these events, that were kind of more to Mendieta than just being artworks. I think she saw them as something that was spiritual, that was transcendent. And in fact, a lot of the records of her artistic practice are really that. They're records of these other rituals. They're not kind of constructed to be formal artworks in their own ways. Really to sort of get our understanding right as to why Mendieta came at art practice from this particular angle, we need to remember that she was she had to leave home, her birthplace of Cuba, when she was very young. So when she was 12 years old, Mendieta and her sister were effectively taken to the United States to protect them because their parents had been involved in resistance to the political regime changes taking place in Cuba as a result of the actions of Fidel Castro. So from a very early age, Mendieta felt that she was taken away from her home. And she saw her home, or she described her homes in terms of it being a kind of point of origin. And she'd often describe it in feminized terms as well, as being a kind of a womb, a birthing place. And I think really she felt that separation throughout her career. She felt as if she'd been stripped of something, and in a way, distance from this deep connection to a point of origin, to the earth, and even to the kind of the body of the universe. And her practice really was founded upon a lot of research that took the form of archaeology. She visited ancient sites right across the world, from Ireland to Egypt, and she explored multiple different cultures right across America, South America, and other parts of the world, trying to find these points of connection. And the breadth of her research really suggests, I think, that she wasn't looking here for a kind of localized, specific set of memories or practices from a particular people. She was looking for something that really captured this universal kind of spirit, this universal connection. And perhaps what we might take from her drawings, which were made in the 1980s towards the end of her tragically short career, is a sense of her using abstraction to distill many of the ideas that she had encountered through her travels. The Silhouetta series, which she made from about 1973 through to 1980, which I alluded to in the introduction to this video, where she used her own body and represented it being connected to nature through mud and leaves and almost a kind of camouflage into the landscapes that she was exploring. This series was driven by her interest in things like the Day of the Dead in Mexico, in funerary rites, in burial places. So places where people and ancient people have tried in a way to reconcile their earthly body, their physical forms, with death, with the landscape, with becoming this other thing, this other status. And I think what we see in these drawings are familiar forms as well. There are forms that feel quite maternal, quite womb-like. They also feel like seeds and things that could grow and develop. So I don't think they represent just an endpoint, but something that's quite cyclical, that loops, that offers up this kind of otherworld trajectory in which you become part of nature and part of the way that nature rejuvenates itself. Born in 1948, it was only in 1980 that Mendieta was able to return home, to return to Cuba. I think the fact that these drawings represent a kind of reflective period within this very important artist's career is nicely captured by some of the artistic statements that she made at this time in her life. And it's with one of these statements that I would like to end this video, leaving you with the words of Ana Mendieta. During the past 10 years, my work as a dialogue between nature and the mythical female body has evolved dialectically in response to diverse landscapes as an emotional, sexual, biological affirmation of being. My purpose and interest is rooted in nature's symbolic meaning. My works do not belong to the modernist tradition, which exploits physical properties and an enlarged scale of materials. Nor is it akin to the commercially historical self-consciousness assertion of what is called postmodernism. My art is grounded on the primordial accumulations, the unconscious urges that animate the world, not in an attempt to redeem the past, but rather in confrontation with the void, the orphanhood, the unbaptized earth of the beginning, the time that from within the earth looks upon us.